Anybody seen Richie?
What are you gonna do, huh? What are you gonna do? Arrest me? I'm out of bullets!
You know, that's a shame, because those bullets could have saved you a lot of pain.
Hello folks, and welcome back to another action movie recommendation. Now before I start the review, let's talk about Steven Seagal for a little bit. Now I think we can all be honest and say that Steven Seagal today is a big joke, starring in crappy direct-to-video movies and using more stunt doubles than ever before due to his current weight problem. I mean, come on Steven, get off those donuts, why don't you? But, believe it or not, there was actually a time when Steven Seagal was one of the top action stars of the late 80s and early to mid 90s. From 1988 up until around 1997, Steven Seagal wowed audiences with his intense screen presence, his brutal Aikido martial arts moves, and of course, his short fuse attitude. And for me personally, the film that best illustrates all those qualities that he had is the 1991 action thriller Out for Justice. So, let's dig in, shall we? Steven Seagal is Gino, an NYPD detective on a personal manhunt to capture a highly unstable and psychotic gangster by the name of Richie Madamo, who has murdered Gino's best friend and is posing as a serious threat to Gino's neighborhood. So it's now up to him to track down Richie and stop his crime spree. Now, first thing I must say is Out for Justice is a very dark and gritty film. It doesn't hold back on violence, nudity and foul language. It's R-rated and it's not ashamed of it. And to be honest, that's what I like about Out for Justice. It's a highly entertaining film with many memorable scenes and moments. The fights are well choreographed and shot, and they are always brutal. Every time Seagal breaks someone's limbs or hits them, you feel it. Probably the most memorable action scene is when Seagal walks into a bar and starts to question all the patrons on if they had seen Richie, hence the famous line, "Has anyone seen Richie?" That scene is both badass and hilarious because when Seagal doesn't get the answers, he just starts to insult people and then goes to town beating the absolute crap out of everyone, kicking them, snapping limbs, and even using a pool ball and a towel to crack skulls. Hell, he even knocks a guy's teeth out. Now, while I think Seagal is a badass in this movie, his acting isn't amazing. He keeps the same stone-cold scowl around 80% of the time. However, with what skills he has, he makes the most of, and it's always fun to see him get pissed off or lecture thugs with such confidence. However, if there is an actor in this film who left a real good acting impression, it was William Forsythe as the psychotic gangster Richie. He is so despicable that you just want to spit on the screen. And whenever Richie does something horrible, it's just like another day at the office for him, and he enjoys it. Also, he gives that sense that he could snap at any minute, because if he suspects anything unusual, his solution is to use a gun. A good example is when he's in a chop shop and he kills a guy in a wheelchair out of suspicion of being ratted out by him. That's just horrible. And at times, even Richie's lackeys also disagree with him on some of his methods. It's like they just don't want to be by his side, but they're only sticking around because Richie is offering them a lot of money. The absolutely gorgeous and highly talented Gina Gershon also makes an appearance in this film, and has some memorable exchanges of dialogue with Steven Seagal, and I must say, some of those exchanges are pretty damn funny. And also, this movie has one of the greatest openings to any movie. I won't spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but it's without a doubt awesome. Now for a little history. According to Wikipedia, this movie was edited down to give the film better pacing, but unfortunately William Forsythe's role was also cut down because Seagal felt that he was being upstaged by him. I really would like to see an extended version of this film someday, but I don't know if we'll ever get it. Warner Brothers distributed this film along with many other Steven Seagal films, and they had a reputation for editing films down a lot. Showdown Little Tokyo was also given a similar treatment, and Sylvester Stallone's 1986 film, Cobra, was also notoriously edited down. So maybe it's time Warner Brothers looked into their back catalogue and re-released these movies uncut on Blu-ray or DVD. Out for Justice, as far as I can remember, was the first Steven Seagal movie I remember watching all the way through and on my own. And I never really knew who he was until I saw this film. I was around 18 years old when I watched this movie, and I was blown away on how entertaining it was. And I went on to seek out other films from Steven Seagal's back catalogue. And after speaking with my older cousin, he suggested to avoid anything after 1997. because his films just diminished in quality after that. And my cousin was right. With movies like The Patriot and Half Past Dead, that was just about enough for me. So if you are going to start watching Steven Seagal movies, watch everything from 1988 up until about 1997. Well, I guess you should avoid 1994's On Deadly Ground. That was a major misstep in Seagal's early career, which was due to Seagal thinking he could direct. But overall, Out for Justice is a classic Steven Seagal film, and definitely the best jump-in point for people who haven't seen his films. The movie is not perfect, but it's just so consistently entertaining that it overcomes all those problems. And because of it being so consistently entertaining, I give Out for Justice 5 out of 5. It's my personal favourite Steven Seagal film, and a good film to start off with if you're going to start watching Steven Seagal movies. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for more.